Good evening and good day, whatever time it is for you. I am thankful that you're here. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you. So, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Megan, it was so nice to see you post a comment before the session had even started today. I have got quite a treat lined up. At least it was fun thinking about what we're going to talk about today. And of course, we can talk about anything you want. I am a certified peer support specialist. I am trained to provide peer support to you and to people that you know who would benefit from the service. So, I specialize in working with people with mental health conditions who are in recovery from them and also in recovery from substance misuse. Everyone is welcome here. It seems that we have quite the bunch that's been showing up for the past couple months since I've started this whole live adventure. So, without further ado, I will tell you. I mean, you can see it in the title. It's no secret what we're going to be talking about here today. If you just joined, Megan in the house. So, Megan says, my day was good. Wrapping up work in 45 minutes. I'll be ghost listening till then. I'm going to share out the link. Megan, you're so thoughtful. It's so nice to see you, friend. I'm happy to see that you're working and wanting to share out the link. That's super helpful to me. So thank you very much. I hope the rest of your shift goes good. And thanks again. Uh, there's someone else in here who I'm curious about who you are. Tell me who you are. Tell me how I can support you. If you're here to provide support, that's super cool. We are going to be talking about joy today. I made up a list of a few things that bring me joy, and that is my overarching question that I want to ask you today. I want to know what brings you joy. I'm going to give you maybe a list of three things, but as I was thinking of it, I'm like, man, this is a whole topic in and of itself. I've got stories that I want to tell. And if you're just joining, welcome. It's nice to have you here. Megan says, how was your day? My day was eventful. It was very productive. And I'm so happy to report that I had a lovely day. My parents just got back from a vacation. They took a cruise. It was their first cruise they've ever taken. And I call my mom very regularly, but they wanted to be completely disconnected while they were on the cruise. So they're back in town. I'm so glad that they made it back. And I was able to call her today we're not in the same town. Otherwise, I would have gone to see her, but we live in very different places. So anyways, I was able to connect with her today. We chatted for a while. I got to hear all about the cruise. I've never been on a cruise. Been talking about going on one with a friend, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. One day I would like to go on a cruise. I also had a psychiatry appointment, which was good. No big changes to report, which is a pro. There's some other things we could talk about if we get to it, but I don't know if we will. I always say, I noticed, I remembered as I was going to sleep after my last live, I remember I was like, shoot, I told them I was going to tell them how my volunteer gig went, but I never got around to it. And I put that on my list to talk about. So I'm going to deliver on that promise to tell you about how that whole thing went, what happened, what we did. So my day was awesome, Megan. I really appreciate you asking. It was productive, and I love being productive now that I'm feeling better. I have noticed a significant difference. If y'all know me, y'all know I'm a huge fan of the ketamine treatment that I've been receiving. And I gotta say that ketamine treatment has been a game changer for me. I haven't been as productive or felt as good. I actually have been doing my hair, as y'all have seen. I like being productive. So, Megan, I'm all for disconnecting on a boat on an ocean. Good for them, right? So good for them. I would also love to do the same thing eventually. with the right person or with the right people. I like meeting new people out and about. I think that I would like meeting people on a cruise ship, but I think if I went on a cruise, I would want it to be with, obviously, like at least someone who I have a really good relationship with, who I would want to spend several days with. Now, my mom and my stepdad have been married for 25 years now, so I think they kind of like each other. Sounds like they had a great time. If you're just joining, let me know who you are. I'm so glad you're here. Feel free to drop a comment. I want to know what brings you joy. I'm getting ready to share 3 things that I brainstormed that bring me joy. I think this is a really good exercise to think about what brings us joy, because what else is there in life? I mean, really, there's so much challenge in life in general. Why not focus on the things that bring us joy? So this is sort of like a gratitude list, sort of like an appreciation list, but I thought let's switch it up, and rather than talking about things we appreciate or that we're thankful for, let's talk about joy. So, this is my list. I'll start things off and then feel free to let me know what it is that you enjoy. Artem, hey, I'm here. Man, I can't see your comment because there's a heart over it. So I'm gonna have to wait till another comment comes through. I see, hi, I'm here, and then there's some word and then says to joy, but I won't be able to see your full comment until I get another one because they put that heart in the most inconvenient location. I wonder if I can press that heart. I can press the heart. That's interesting. Hooray to joy. Okay, so Rev just made a comment. Hey, Rev, nice to see you. And Artem, I don't know that I said nice to see you too. I'm so glad you're here. And yes, hooray to joy. So Rev says, good evening, Tara. Every time I see you, it makes me smile, I think is what you said. Until several more comments come through, I won't be able to see the full comment, Rev, but I think that I read it correctly. And I appreciate that. Every time I see y'all come in here, it brings me joy too. It makes me smile. So that's the topic tonight. I want to talk about what brings us joy. So I'm going to get things started. I keep saying that and then I get sidetracked, but I'm focused this evening. I have a list in front of me, and you're going to hear everything that brings me joy, or at least the top things that came to mind as I was sitting here thinking about this. So, the number one thing that brings me joy, the first thing on my list is sourdough. You may or may not know that I am a huge sourdough lover, and I actually brought my sourdough starter over here today to show you how active and beautiful she is. This is Vicky. Uh, Most people that I know who are into sourdough name their sourdough starters, and I have named mine. This is Vicky. She's doing really well. This rubber band represents where she was when I fed her. This is where she started, and she has been rising all day, and now she is bread making material at this point. So I am so happy to introduce you to Vicky, my sourdough starter. This is the very first thing that I thought of when I was making my what brings me joy list, because I make sourdough everything. John Fry. Hey, John Fry. Nice to see you, friend. Welcome in. Welcome in. This is Vicky, my sourdough starter. For those of you just joining, we are talking about what brings us joy. And my sourdough starter brings me so much joy. I'll tell you all the different things I make with Vicky after I read the rest of these comments. Tala, Kingdom Within in the house. Hey, Tala, nice to see you. We are talking about what brings us joy. So feel free. I got the party started. What brings me joy, number one on my list, is my sourdough starter. She's very healthy. She's very active right now. She's capable of making bread as we speak. I would wait to make bread with her for another hour or two. She's still rising, and the best time to make bread is when it has peaked or when it's starting to fall, just right after it starts to fall, because then you know that it's peaked. I'm not going to be making bread this evening. Uh, I'm going to be making cookies. Probably another bat. I still have some dough I need to bake up, but I'm gonna make some more cookie dough probably tomorrow or the next day. And then I promised this girl that I volunteer with that I was gonna bring her some starters. So I'm making a little bit of extra now so that Vicky can have another home. Of course, I'm gonna keep Vicky, but I'm just gonna make some extra and gift it to someone who asked. That's the sourdough way. You just give people sourdough starter if they're interested in it. Megan says, "Welcome to all coming in." Thanks, Megan. You're a great moderator. I appreciate you, Megan, for welcoming everybody in, and you even got here early to welcome people in. Look at you. John loves sourdough bread. I love sourdough bread too, John, so much. I love sourdough everything. So John Fry says, yeah, yum cookies. I make these sourdough cookies that are just, I've been told it's a banger recipe, and I actually created it myself with, I call it Al. I call Al now. It's just my endearing way to refer to AI as Al. So Al and I created two sourdough cookie recipes that are bangers. One in particular, I mean, both of them I get good feedback from, but the pumpkin white chocolate sourdough cookie is amazing. And Al and I created it, and it was so much fun doing it. So as you can hear, sourdough is something that I really, really enjoy doing, and I love eating the cookies. I'm going to be making a batch of pumpkin white chocolate cookies here coming up. I have some chocolate chip sourdough cookie dough left from the last batch that I need to bake up here. Yeah, John Fry, it is delicious. I'm gonna tell you what else I make sourdough too, and I'm sure it's not gonna be a complete list. I didn't write it down. So Tala says sourdough Jack from Jack in the Box is really bomb. I didn't even I did I have heard about the sourdough Jack from Jack in the Box. I've personally, self-admittedly, never had it before, but I'm sure that it is amazing. Anything sourdough is just next level. Morrison in the house. Sup, yo? How you doing, slow mo? How are you feeling today? Megan says, "What is Jack in the Box?" Megan. It is a fast food restaurant here in the States. You know, the one thing that I really like from Jack in the Box that I need to make, I've been wanting to make these on my own. I've made sourdough French toast. That's something I might have forgot to add if we weren't having this conversation. Jack in the Box, I don't even know if they still have them, but they used to have these French toast sticks with the syrup. That was so good. Do they still have those French toast sticks? Something about Jack in the Box too. It's like you can smell it once you get within a certain proximity to Jack in the Box. It has a very distinct smell, similar to In and Out. Yes, it is good to see you. Mo, always good to see you. I'm glad you're here, man. Everyone's saying hello to each other. I love how we all welcome each other in when we get here. That's really nice to see. Artem says, "Wait, you got an AI friend named Al?" Yeah, I call ChatGPT Al because it's like AI looks like Al, like a phone app type. and it helped you with the cookie recipe. So I use Chat GPT and I just call it Al for fun. And yes, uh, I had Al help me with my pumpkin white chocolate sourdough cookie recipe and my sourdough chocolate chip cookie recipes. And then I tweaked them. So, I did the basic Chat GPT, Chat Al, Al search, and then modified it with Al. Like we worked as a team. And then I took that recipe and I've been tweaking it to get it just right. And it is just right for sure. John Fry, the closest Jack in the Box to me is around 100 miles away from where I live. Wow, John Fry, you must live in a very rural location because everywhere I've lived has had Jack in the Box, like super close, very accessible. Megan, say less French toast sticks. Yeah, yeah, French toast sticks. I want to make some sourdough French toast sticks. Heather in the house. Yo, Heather, how's school going, friend? I know you were at school today, but you made it. I appreciate you being here. Thank you all for taking the time to be here. And Heather, how's school going? Hello, Tara. Good evening, everyone. My bus was late, but I made it. 1 month today. Heather celebrating 1 month. No booze. That is some hard work right there. Heather, I know you've been busting your tail to stay in recovery, and I am so proud of you, friend. Do you want to tell us how you did it? Mo, I'm doing very well, Tara. Hope you're doing well. I dig some Jack in the Box, but I prefer In and Out. You and me both, Mo. I know not everybody in here is probably a fan of In and Out, but I don't get it. Personally, I think In and Out is just the bee's knees when it comes to fast food. Self admittedly, I haven't eaten fast food much lately, but when I do eat fast food, In and Out's at the top of my list. Megan says, Heather, congrats. Yes, Heather, congrats. We are all very proud of you. Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I would imagine everybody here is pretty proud of you right now. John says, I've eaten there before when I was working in Indianapolis. Yeah, Jack in the Box is very American for sure. Miss Heather, thanks, Megan. Heather, 30 days is a big deal. Yes, Mo saying, congrats, Heather. Congrats all around. Heather, it's your day. It's your day today. I am interested, Heather, in hearing how you made it. Like, how'd you do it? How'd you get to 30 days? Unless you don't want to answer that. That might be too reminiscent of previous life, which I understand that. Morrison, we don't have Jack in the Box or In and Out in Georgia. Wow, I did not know that. In and Out makes sense, but no Jack in the Crack. That is surprising. And does anybody else say Jack in the Crack, or is that just me? Mo says he's feeling good and 6 weeks off Suboxone. Dang, we've got all kinds of milestones going on here. Heather has been sober from alcohol for 30 days. Mo has been off the subs for 6 weeks. This is all very, very exciting, and you two deserve some sort of award. I wish that I could hand you some cookies. The best I can do, I don't actually have any cookies made right now. All I have is dough. The best I can do is say that Vicky sends you her love and congrats as well. If you haven't seen Vicky yet because you're just coming in, this is Vicky. She's my sourdough starter. She brings me great joy. I kept telling you I was going to, so I have made sourdough granola, sourdough French toast, sourdough English muffins, sourdough bread. sourdough focaccia, or not focaccia, ciabatta. Not wait, not no focaccia, not ciabatta, focaccia. I've made focaccia. What else have I made? There's more. Cookies, sourdough cookies. The sourdough granola is banger. I just haven't been eating that much sugar lately, so I haven't made it lately. I'm missing some things. Maybe they'll come to me. That's what I get for not writing down what I've made. John Fry, there's no In and Outs near me either. I've never eaten there. Oh my gosh, John Fry, that is one of these days. I definitely recommend it. I don't want to hype it up too much, but I definitely recommend it. Yeah, Tall is proud of Heather. John Fry, I'm surprised there's not a Jack in the Box in Fort Wayne, Indiana, but not yet. That is surprising, John. I agree with you. Mo, In and Out is the superior fast food. Mo, I know sometimes we disagree on things or have, differences of opinion, but this is one thing we can agree on. In and Out is the superior fast food. Their French fries, sometimes I get protein style, the animal fries. Ugh, ugh. But if I were to eat In and Out today, I would not go protein style. I would just get it as they make it, a double double with an animal style French fry or animal fry, not animal style. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Heather, so stoked. I feel co-neutron. Is that, am I missing something? I feel co-neutron. That sounds very scientific of you, Heather. Megan loved In and Out. Megan, are there any In and Outs in Canada? Tala, oh, that's a no-brainer. In and Out beats Jack in the Box by a long shot. I agree. I think probably not everybody agrees with that though. Like I'll bet you there are people, maybe not in here. It seems like In and Out's winning by a landslide in this particular population of people, but not everybody is an In and Out fan. And I quite frankly do not understand. But that's okay. To each their own. We're all entitled to our own opinions. Yes, Artem, congrats, Heather. Yes, yes, congrats, Heather. 30 days is a huge deal, big milestone. That 30 days is like, I think the most challenging. Well, I mean, I'm only, I'm not that far into my recovery myself. I'm a few years in, but 30 days was definitely not easy. The 3 week mark, I thought I was going to go out for sure. But I had some really good support. So thankfully I did not. And I have made it to a few years. And yeah. Megan, Mo, did you hit up that Tim Hortons? Yeah, yeah, Mo. I wonder if Mo saw that. Kristen Melinda in the house. Hey, Kristen, nice to see you, friend. Welcome in, welcome in. We are talking about joy, and interestingly, In and Out has been a topic. It's like Jack in the Box came up, In and Out came up. It's funny. We talk about joy, In and Out comes up. Marky Rizzo in the house. Hey, Marky, nice to see you, friend. We are talking about joy. So I'm interested to hear some things that bring y'all joy. If you've got 3 things just off the top of your head, it doesn't have to be anything super detailed or fancy. The first thing that I said for those of you who are just coming in is sourdough. This is Vicky, my sourdough starter. She is a champion. And as you can see, to make bread, Vicky only has to double in size. So she is over double. She would make a banging loaf of bread right now. That was the first thing on my list. Sourdough brings me joy. Vicky is my friend. Megan, Jack and the Plumber's Crack. Yeah, you've probably never heard that one, the Jack and the Crack, but I is there anybody who lives in the States who hasn't heard and or used Jack in the Crack as a term to describe Jack in the Box? Gotta be careful what I say around here. Tala, here in Washington State, we always say Jack in the Crack. Okay, so Tala knows what I'm talking about. Tala knows what I'm talking about. Kristen Melinda, my hubby says Jack in the Crack. Okay, I'm not the only one. I was starting to think like it's hard sometimes when you're behind the screen. It's like so much easier when it's face to face contact. You can get immediate feedback from people, but sometimes it's a little delayed by the time I see your comment. I do my best to keep up. I'm trying to keep up with y'all. I'm doing better tonight. Okay, Heather, oops, I think connection has been my key with the right people. I changed the people I surrounded myself. I started over. It's been lonely, but I feel better and connected in these lives. Heather, that warms my heart. I know that like I can relate to being in early recovery and the phone ringing and just being like, I know this person is going to be loaded. Or I pick up the phone and the person is loaded. And it's just like, so challenging. Even where I sit now, I'm still working on establishing relationship because healthy relationship takes time to develop. And so I hear you, sister. I'm still working on building new healthy relationship in my recovery. I'm enjoying the journey though. I am, even though yeah, it does take time. I wish we could just snap our fingers but fast friends isn't always the best way to go. Sometimes it works out. I have a close friend who we were fast friends. It was like we started talking on the phone gradually, and then it was more and more and more and more. And we talk quite frequently these days. Broski, says Marky to Tala. Megan, Marky, how are you doing today, friend? You doing okay? We're talking about joy. I know you came in, you probably missed my little beginning spiel. I don't know if you watch the replay when you come in or not, but uh, I'm interested to hear a few things that bring y'all joy today. That is the topic. We are talking about joy. Personally, I think joy is like I think Mo has said this before, like joy is what we're seeking. Mo, correct me if I'm wrong. It's like joy over happiness because happiness is fleeting, I think was a comment that you made the last live. And it was actually my inspiration for this topic. I think it's such a under discussed topic in recovery and in life in general that the joy, in my opinion, is not actually getting from point A to B. It's in the journey from point A to point B. So it wasn't fun getting there. Like if I didn't love the whole process of making sourdough, then I probably wouldn't make as many sourdough goodies. Oh, sourdough pancakes. That's one that I forgot. Oh, sourdough flatbread. Megan, no In and Out here, but immediately off the plane in Vegas a few years ago, In and Out. Yes. Yeah, they're all over the West. Heather, Tara on the Ally has the best French toast sticks for breakfast, or on the Ally, on the alley. On the alley has the best French toast sticks for breakfast. Right on, Heather. I have not ventured to that place yet. Hey, Artem, glad you're here. Yes, I agree with Heather. Artem, I'm so glad you're here always. Artem says, I live next to train tracks and I love the train horns and the train sounds when they pass by. Brings me some joy every time. I love that, Artem. I can hear the train when it passes also. It doesn't happen very often where I live. I might hear it once a week. If that, it might be just once or twice a month that I actually, am here when it goes by. I've never stopped to appreciate it before, but perhaps the next time I hear it, I will. I grew up, my aunt and uncle had a house by some train tracks way closer than I am now. And it always would kind of like, if I was staying the night over there or something, it would wake me up. And I didn't really appreciate it. So I love that. I love that that's something that you enjoy. I've never heard anybody say that they enjoy when the train goes by, so that's very unique. John Fry, first and foremost, my Father in heaven and my King and Savior Jesus Christ brings me joy. That is a beautiful comment. John, I'm so happy that you have such a strong relationship with your higher power. Kristen Melinda, my first thing that comes to mind that is a joy maker would have to be my 4-year-old laughing. Second thing is my dog, and then chicken strips. Nice. Do you make your chicken strips, Kristen? Do you get them out? What are your, do you like all chicken strips? Like, what kind of chicken strips are we talking here? Because I personally think that sourdough chicken strips would be banger. I'm gonna write that down actually, because that's something I've never done before. I would like to do that. Sourdough chicken strips. Did you know that any recipe that calls for flour can be made into a sourdough recipe? Yeah, that blew my mind when I was first learning. Sourdough chicken strips, that's what's up. Tala agrees with John. Amen, brother. Megan agrees. Amen. Jesus Christ is king. So I do not disagree with any of this at all. I just want to put a disclaimer out there for people who maybe have a different faith that you are absolutely welcome here. This is not a religious channel. We welcome all walks of faith, all different types of beliefs and different cultures. You do not have to know what In and Out or Jack in the Box are or have one near you to hang out here. And I'm so glad you're here. John, without my faith, I have no joy or hope. Yeah, John, I think that's a huge part of recovery. I know that there are different types of recovery that are not faith based or higher power focused. Personally, I um, do have a higher power. Again, I accept and appreciate all different walks of faith here. Um, I think it can be done without a higher power. I mean, there's a whole smart recovery doesn't require that you have a higher power like the 12-step programs do. So, can it be done? I mean, who am I to say if it can be done? For me, I have needed to lean on my higher power when times get tough. So, I hear what y'all are saying and I support it 100%. Tala says, by the way, I love the topic today, Tara. Right on, Tala. I was wondering how it was going to go because it's kind of similar to like a gratitude list or an appreciation list, which we've done recently, but I think it's a little different. Appreciation and gratitude are a little different than joy. So I appreciate that comment. I love hearing what y'all enjoy and it helps me to know what's landing and what's not so much landing. Artem, snow brings me joy. I think it's such a cool natural phenomenon to witness. Well, you are living in the right place for that, Artem. Is it still warm there or has it cooled down? The weather has been really weird here. When the last time we chatted about the weather, it was pretty chilly here and it was raining a lot. It has been warm the past 2 days, like hot. It was a little cooler today than it was yesterday, but it was hot yesterday. Straight like summer weather, similar to what you were describing. Tala, I gotta try them sourdough pancakes. Tala, sourdough pancakes were the first thing that I ever made with sourdough, and they're bomb. They're so good. I thought of the sourdough pancakes when you made those pancakes. Do you remember those pancakes you made? I think it was the night that you hosted a jam session on your Discord and you made those chocolate pancakes. I was thinking about sourdough pancakes that night. Vicky is fierce. Look at how much she's rose. She's strong this evening or today, and she's still on the rise. She would make a mean loaf of bread right now. Miss Heather, the ocean, photography, and when things click for me at school brings me joy. Yes, Heather, I was a little schoolgirl at one point too. I was a non-traditional student myself. I did not go to university straight out of high school. I served like cocktail waitress and bartended for a few years before I started going back to school and never thought that school would bring me joy. High school, I did not care about academia at all. I was all about the social, but I agree. School brings me joy too. Maybe it will again someday too, now that I'm like straight and thinking clearly, relatively speaking. I also love the ocean and photography. So, Heather, we have a lot more in common than I originally realized. And it's really a pleasure getting to know you. Kristen Melinda, Whataburger is choice of most people around me, but I'm partial to Chick-fil-A myself. It's a problem. So, Kristen, I had a conversation with someone not too long ago about Chick-fil-A. Is it true that they say my pleasure all the time? Because I never noticed that in Chick-fil-A. I've done a lot of Instacart, or not Instacart, Uber Eats deliveries. I do Instacart too, but I've done some Uber Eats deliveries for Chick-fil-A, and someone told me that they say my pleasure in there quite a bit. Is that a thing? Because I've never noticed. Yeah, Tala, you ever try sour? Yes, yes. It's been a while since I've made sourdough French toast, but yes, I have made sourdough French toast. As a matter of fact, when I lived at the safe house, I made sourdough French toast for the entire house. And there was like 14 women living in the house at that time. And I made these baked apples on the stovetop that were, so they weren't technically baked, I guess, because I didn't put them in the oven, but they were stovetop apples that I made this cinnamon sauce with coconut milk. And it was banging. It was so good. And they were like, shouldn't we be making breakfast for you? It's your birthday. But I was like, taste it. Just taste it. Yes, Tala, I have had sourdough French toast. And it's good. Uh, if you ever, if you ever care to experiment, um, just dice some apples up, throw them into like put some butter into a pan enough to like coat all of the apples and then put some coconut milk in with some cinnamon and wait until the apples cook. Oh my gosh, it's a great topping for the sourdough French toast along with the maple syrup. People will go nuts for it. There will be none left. Tala, wait, that wouldn't make sense because it wouldn't be French anymore. I still called it French toast. Maybe that's not very cultured of me. John Fry, I get joy from fellowship like this. Indeed, John, I can relate. And actually, let me get through a few more of these comments and then I'm going to tell you it's something that I've noticed is a theme from y'all's comments is that, well, I'll touch on that in a minute. Yeah. So Artem says, yeah, I live next to the busiest train line in my city. I hear it very regularly, like 20 to 30 times a day, if I had to guess, and I love it. Well, I think it's fantastic that that's something that brings you joy, Artem, because you're hearing it very regularly. That's again very unique. That's something that brings you joy. I think that's just wonderful. Thanks for sharing that, Artem. Yeah, Megan agrees 100%. Fellowship, I love that. You're right, brother. Miss Heather, fried chicken and sourdough waffles. You know what? Sourdough waffles is one thing that I have not tried to make sourdough. I've thought about it before, but I don't have a waffle iron. One of these days, I'm going to get a waffle iron. Yeah, sourdough chicken strips. That's right, John Fry. Tala, you're making me hungry. Leave it to me and Vicky. Kristen, I've never made my own chicken strips. I've made home fried bone in chicken, but that's different. I got a new thing to try on my list. Right on, Kristen. If you do that, I want to know how it goes, especially if it's sourdough. Even if it's not sourdough, Kristen, because based on your comment, I don't get the feeling that you are into sourdough, but if you ever want to learn, your girl's got you. Tala, yep, the Samoan chocolate pancakes. Exactly. I remember seeing those and I was thinking about sourdough. Yeah, I think people love Chick-fil-A is another one that's Megan, is Chick-fil-A something that you tried when you were down here? Because that's another really popular one that a lot of people that don't typically do fast food will do Chick-fil-A. Miss Heather, thanks, Tara, for your kudos. It is my pleasure, Heather. You absolutely have earned it. Kristen, yes, almost every time I say thank you to someone in the drive-through, they say my pleasure. Yeah, Kristen, that's what I've heard is that they are required to say my pleasure at Chick-fil-A. I've never noticed it before. Miss Heather, I want to bake more now. Yeah, Miss Heather, I'm gonna be baking some cookies after this live stream tonight. I usually make a double batch of sourdough cookie dough and then I bake just like 14 at a time. I don't do a baker's dozen. I do a baker's dozen plus one because that's what I can fit on my cookie sheet, my one cookie sheet that I have right now. And if I were to make more than that at one time, I would eat way more cookies than I eat now. So I do 14 at a time, save the dough. With sourdough cookies, the longer they stay in the fridge, the more the flavor profile develops. It gets more complex and builds more flavor. There is a line, you don't want them to be in the refrigerator for longer than 6 or 7 days because there's egg in the cookie dough. Although the pumpkin ones, there's no egg in my recipe. But yeah, the after 3 days, that dough it gets way more rich in taste. John, I think I'm gonna have to try a sourdough chicken fried steak on one of these days. Ooh, that sounds good. That reminds me of the chicken strips, but a chicken fried steak is like, that sounds bomb. That sounds really good. I haven't had chicken fried steak in a while. And you know what? You can even make sourdough gravy if you really wanted to. Oh, I'm writing that down, sourdough gravy. That would be so good. I love it when I get ideas from y'all. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts with me. Yeah, Heather loves the Habit. It's her favorite burger, but I think it's just local. Heather, they have the Habit in Arizona. I don't know if the Habit is anywhere else, but it's definitely not just in California. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about, let me take a sip of water. I real quick want to appreciate all of you for being here. I really appreciate you taking time out of your night to hang out. Okay, so I told you about one thing on my list. I think we've talked extensively about sourdough. And the next thing on my list is something that y'all talked about in your list of things that you enjoy. Something I saw come up more than a couple times, or more than once. I think two of you, if not more, said social connection, and maybe even three of you now that I'm thinking of it, or more, said social connection is something that brings you joy. And that is something that I put on my list as well. So if social connection is something that brings you joy, please feel free to type that in the chat. I think something special happens when we actually put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard. I don't think it really matters which format it is. Actually, it's proven that they both work the same in terms of our brain, and focusing on things that we enjoy shifts our perspective to looking for things that we enjoy. And if we're looking for things that we enjoy, then we're going to have a better life. And I personally think that it's something that's not talked about enough in recovery. I hear about gratitude. I hear about um, appreciate. Well, I don't even hear about appreciation. I hear more about gratitude in recovery. Something we talked about in the last Thursday's meeting, which was fantastic, was fun, having fun. And this goes along with what we're talking about today. It was a great conversation. If you were there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was rockin'. Thank you, everyone, for coming who did. If you are a moderator and have access to the Rachel's Discord, we have a recovery meeting. It's not a conventional recovery meeting. It's very different than, and it's turning into something very different from any recovery meeting I've ever been to, where we're focusing on more solution type of content, things that are fun, light, less about war stories, more about things that we're doing instead. And so, which I love that it's turning into this. So if a moderator could please drop a link to the Discord, we have meetings there every Thursday night at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Everyone is invited. And it was a pleasure this past Thursday. Fry, thank you for providing a place to fellowship. John Fry, it is my absolute pleasure. Thank you for jumping in at the ground level. I am brand new. I've been doing this for just a couple of months, and it's brings me joy. You know, live streaming is something that I really enjoy doing, and it wouldn't be the same without y'all showing up. So I appreciate each and every one of you for showing up, and especially for commenting. I love hearing your feedback. I love hearing what you're liking, or you know, sometimes people disagree with me on certain things. I like that too. So I welcome all comments. keeping in mind that this is an inclusive community. Everyone is welcome here, regardless of what your personal beliefs are, what your personal culture is, your background. Everybody is welcome here. Tala, goodness, I love the strawberry cheesecake waffles from IHOP. I missed your comment, Tala. And now I'm just realizing that I've had the setting on top chat and not live chat. So if I skipped over your comment, I do apologize. Thanks for bearing with me as I kind of learn this live stream thing. John Fry, I'm not computer savvy, so I'm grateful for people like you. Well, again, it's an absolute pleasure. And there's something about there's something about when people express gratitude in the comments, it's like fuel for me. It really makes me want to keep doing this. So, thank you for sharing that. Um, it's a pleasure. And I'm not saying that because we were talking about Chick fil A. It really is a pleasure to show up every Monday and every Wednesday to fellowship with you. Kristen, social connection definitely brings me joy. I'm not great at making it happen in person because of my crazy work, plus mom of a little kid schedule. So places like this have been a lifesaver. Well, Kristen, I am so glad that you're here. It sounds like you have your hands absolutely full. So if you're anything like my friend who has a similar situation with a family and a job, I would imagine you probably got your headphones in right now and you're doing 18 other things. So thank you for taking the time to comment and bring light to how social connection brings you joy too. It, these little moments of connection for me make a big difference because, like, without you, I'm just sitting here talking to a screen, but with you and your participation, even though I know you're so busy right now and you've got a life going on, it that brings me joy just to be able to connect with you. So thank you. John Fry, if you need work on your house, I'm your guy, but computers not so much. The handyman John Fry. I will remember that. Are you in California, John Fry? No, I'm just kidding. I would actually, the property management company here that operates my building is really great with any requests. They always come the same day. Anytime I've requested anything, I'm blessed where I live. It's good to know that you're a handyman, though, John. That's a fantastic skill. Tala, gotta thank Megan for sharing your live stream, Tara, because I didn't get notified. So yeah, Megan is an awesome moderator. Perhaps I need to make you a mod, Megan. Well, Megan, thank you so much for sharing out the stream. It's helpful to me. The more the merrier in the chat. Like the more we have to talk about, the better it is for everyone who wants to fellowship. So thank you so much, Megan. And Tala dropped a link for the Discord. So everybody is invited. It's been kind of quiet on the Discord. We're trying to kind of like find our feet there too. But one thing I know for sure is that Thursdays at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, there is a rockin' recovery meeting. It's not a typical recovery meeting. I'm really liking the energy there. I'm really liking the direction that this thing is going. So feel free to join us on Thursday at 6 o'clock at the link that Kingdom Within just dropped. John Fry, subscribe. Right on, John Fry. It's so nice to have you here. I'm thinking about when I read your name, because we were just talking about all that sourdough stuff and chicken. I'm thinking fried chicken when I read your name right now, John Fry. That's a high compliment because I love sourdough. And so anything associated with it, which for me, I'm associating fried chicken with sourdough right now because it's something I really want to try to do. Megan, Tala, I would do the same for all of you lovely homies live streams when I see them. Megan, you're amazing. Thank you so much. And Megan, I don't know if I asked how you were doing. I don't know if you feel like sharing an update about how you're doing, or if you just want to keep telling us things that you enjoy. That's totally up to you. Sometimes I think it can be more productive to talk about things that are going well and things that are bringing us joy. Hence the topic today. Not to say that it's not good to talk about other stuff, because it's all good to get out. It's just nice to hear about joy sometimes. Megan, Tala, I got you. I take my mod gig seriously. Thanks, Megan. Tala, Megan, I know you would, girl. Gonna make you a mod now. I got you, Kingdom Within. Megan, you didn't know that you were gonna be in demand. You are an in demand mod, Megan. Don't you moderate like several channels? Yeah, Tala, I agree with that. Megan is an awesome person. And it's a pleasure getting to know you as well, Megan. I mean, really, all of you. Like, I'm pretty new to this. We're all getting to know each other here, and it brings me joy. John, have tools will travel. Right on. Megan, same goes. I don't forget the kindness you have shown me. Aw. Megan, I do what the Father sets out for me to do. And Tala says, I love people. Tala, but I love Jesus more. Right on, Tala. So, oh, I told you that I was going to tell you about my volunteer gig because I forgot to tell you this. I had promised that I would tell you this on the last live, and then I remembered that I did not deliver on that. So, I said that something that brings me joy is social connection. And I have been volunteering quite a bit over the past year. It's not something that I was ever doing in my like pre-recovery days when I was out using and drinking. I just was so selfish and didn't have time or energy. Plus, I had underlying mental health conditions. I was self-medicating, didn't have the capacity to be able to volunteer. I always wanted to volunteer, but I never did. And so this past year, I'm happy to report that I have been volunteering. And just this last week on Wednesday, we did what's called the point in time count. Let me know in the chat if you've heard of the point in time count, and I'll explain exactly what that is. Um, Another thing in terms of volunteering, and this point in time count, just to backtrack, I'm getting scattered here a little bit. This point in time count is what I didn't explain on Wednesday because I had just done the point in time count in the morning. But today I did some additional volunteer work, and there was a bunch of people from my city that were there. There were city representatives from like city council. There were people from the shelters that I know. There were people from different agencies that I've met in the past few years. And it was truly a pleasure to be able to see them and for them to see that I'm getting involved and that I'm doing well and feeling better these days and actually uh, taking steps to make positive change in my community. So, aside from the social connection, it felt really good to be able to show up for someone other than myself today. Like, I showed up for myself on behalf of myself, right? I am my own agency, but it felt like it hits different when it's like, you know, like I didn't get paid to go there. I just am a volunteer. And eventually, it looks like they offered me a job a few weeks ago to work for this agency that organized this whole thing today. What's happening is we're opening a daytime navigation center to offer services to people who are unhoused. And so we are in the middle of starting a lease agreement. Like we need to get the lease agreement approved so that we can open this daytime navigation center. And so I was able to show up just for fun today to look at this building and see that it's going to be a perfect fit for what we're going for. And stuff like that is a reminder, and I see the hearts coming through. Thank you so much. It's a reminder of exactly why being in recovery trumps not. I'm doing so many more things for the community now than I ever could conceptualize doing when I was out there. So back to, let's see if anybody, okay, it doesn't look like anybody knows what the point in time count is. So the point in time count is, we did it on Wednesday. It's a federally mandated activity. Every city and town in the country is mandated to assess on one day of the year, the last 10 days of January, how many people are living without homes in their locale. So we had to go out, or we didn't have to, we got to go out at 5:30. We met in the morning, and then at 6 o'clock, we hit our routes in teams and had to count the number of people who are living unhoused, including vehicular homelessness, which is the camp that I fell into when I was out there. So I don't know how many we counted. I'll find out soon, I'm sure. Maybe tomorrow I'll find out what the final count was, because I volunteer again tomorrow. But that, again, kind of tying, I didn't mean to like dump so much stuff. And if you're just joining, welcome in. We are talking about joy today. So if there are things that you enjoy in life, I want to hear your top 3 things that bring you joy. We're talking about one of mine right now, which is something that came up in the chat, and that is connection. And I'm talking about how I volunteered a couple of times this week for different purposes and how good that feels. Not just the volunteering that feels good, but the people that I get to interact with, the like-mindedness that I experience, and we're all doing something out of just wanting to serve the community and to make it a better place and to help other people. And that feels so good to have made it to a point in my recovery where I can think about other people. So yeah, in addition to live streams like this and telephone conversations and having coffee with friends, volunteering for me is something that these days brings me a lot of joy. It's like, oh, it's overwhelming joy, because it's something I always wanted to do when I was out there, but I couldn't. Like, I didn't have the means or the capacity or the stability to be able to execute. Megan, I don't mind to share. I have struggled. Wait, I skipped over Tala's comment. Loving and obeying Jesus Christ allows me to love and help others the way I'm supposed to. I think service is a huge part of recovery, no matter which style of recovery you're into. Service to others and helping other people plays a big part in it, in my humble opinion. Megan, I don't mind to share. I've struggled with multiple lapses. I've learned giving it up is not what's hard. It's the fear of what's to come in recovery, the fear of the unknown. Lots of work with my counselor. She is inspiring, and I think these safe spaces like this. So, Megan, that is super deep, and thank you for trusting us with that information. I agree with you and can relate to it's not difficult to stop. It's difficult to stay stopped. And I can also relate to fearing success. You didn't say that specifically, but I've had to talk with my therapist about this exact thing that sometimes, especially a few weeks ago when I was struggling pretty hard and dealing with cravings, I was afraid because everything was starting to line up for me, and I'm still in the process of things lining up and getting my life back on track. It's kind of like if everything works out, then I'm going to be really busy, and can I handle that without having some sort of vice? And that's unknown. We won't know until we cross that bridge if I'm going to be able to handle it. But I'm starting slow like you. And I'm so glad that you have the support of a counselor. And I'm so glad that you feel safe and welcome here. That brings me joy to know that you trust this space. And like you, working with my therapist has been a critical part of my recovery. I mean, treatment aside, you know, I could take meds all day long, every day for years, and it's not going to fix me, right? For me personally, my mental health medication gives me the ability to be able to process and move through life in a way that's manageable to me. So keep up the hard work, Megan. I'm so proud of you for being honest about where you're at in your journey. And it's excellent for, I want you to know, it's excellent for me to see you doing the hard work. Like it helps me. So I want you to know that anytime that maybe you think you want to reach out, but for whatever reason you decide not to, just know that I want you to. Like it helps me to hear from you. I want to hear from you no matter what you're going through. Even if you're even if you've slipped up, and you haven't quite made it back, I want you to know that I'm someone that always wants to hear from you. Artem says connection feels foundational, like a basic human need. I feel like common wisdom denies that, as if it's too needy to want connection. I feel gaslit by the self reliance standard. This is a deep comment, Artem. You have such insightful things to say. And I agree, it is a basic human need. And I know it's something that we talk about often. I didn't make it up. I don't know where it came from, but the opposite of addiction is, in fact, connection. I don't know where this whole self reliance thing came from. I do think it takes a village. I don't think anybody can really find joy and recovery solo. I mean, real joy. Like, yes, at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to run my recovery, but look how many people I have. I have a team of people that are helping to support me and who want to see me succeed and who talk me off the ledge when I'm freaking out. I think that's a very profound comment, Artem. I feel gaslit by the self reliance standard. Gaslit, I think, is a very good word choice here. Heather, I'm really just grateful for having the basics like shelter, hot water, and food. Yeah, I'm grateful for those things too, Heather. And I am already seeing myself after just a year of having my own place, taking them for granted. I don't even think about how lucky I am to have my own toilet and my own shower and a place to play with Vicky. Look at her. She's grown. She's still growing. She's doing good. I, I tried to take care of Vicky in my car. Actually, I had a different sourdough starter. I had to let him go. His name was Sam, and I had to let him go because it got to be too difficult to manage him in my car. I actually spilled him all over the car. It was horrible. It was a disaster. Mo, much love, peeps. I apologize, but had to dip out for a bit. Mo, you're all good, man. I'm just glad you're here. We're talking about social connection. You've probably figured it out at this point, Mo, if you're still around. But we're talking about social connection and how enjoyable it is. Tala, Megan, I still keep you in my prayers every morning when I wake up and at night before I go to bed. Pretty much all who are on the Kingdom Within Discord prayer list, I keep in prayer. I love that you do that, Tala. It's a really nice tool that you've made available. Megan, bless your heart, Tala. Thank you. I keep you guys in my prayers. Rev, what does happiness mean to you? Rev, this is a very interesting question. And before last week, I don't remember if it was, I think it was when, excuse me, I think it was, oh, it was Monday, I think, that it came up. Morrison in the chat brought up the concept of happiness and said that he thought, or that he thinks, that joy is the better thing to focus on. I don't remember exactly what his words were. Morrison, feel free to correct me here because I think I'm butchering it right now. But that happiness is fleeting and that it's all about joy. And okay, Tala, right after this, says happiness is temporary, but joy is everlasting. And I mean, this is really a matter of semantics. You know, it all depends on like how someone defines it. And I haven't actually gone as far as to look up the definition. I am curious, but without looking at it, to me, happiness is, it's hard for me to think about it without the lens of now thinking that happiness is fleeting, but joy is a more significant thing. Because it's like once I see it, I can't unsee it type of thing. You know what? I'm going to look up the definition. Bear with me here. I'm going to look up the definition of happiness. And then we're going to look up the definition of joy. So, happiness means, this is according to the Collaborative International Dictionary of English. So, happiness means good luck, good fortune, prosperity. That's the first definition. I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, but I'm just telling you what the definition says. Number two, an agreeable feeling or condition of the soul arising from good fortune or propitious happening of any kind. The possession of those circumstances or that state of being which is attended with enjoyment, the state of being happy, contentment, joyful, satisfaction, blessedness. So I like the second definition better than the first. I like where it says the possession of those circumstances or that state of being which is attended with an enjoyment. I like that definition of happiness. And then I would be able to make the argument that like, well, happiness is a part of enjoyment. Like you can be happy and also enjoy something. So let's go ahead and look at, if y'all are still with me, let's look at the definition of enjoy. Or no, joy, not enjoy, joy. Okay, this is also from the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 5th edition. Number one, intense and especially ecstatic or exultant happiness, or an instance of such a feeling. Two, an expression of such feeling. Or three, a source or an object of joy. Don't you just love it when they define a word with the word? Pretty sure that's not legal. But I like number one, intense and especially ecstatic or exultant happiness, or an instance of such feeling. So, interestingly, the definition of joy in this dictionary uses the term happiness, and the definition of happiness uses the term enjoyment. So, I find that interesting just in terms of sheer definition. Rev, I think to answer your question, happiness to me, now that I've read all of this and kind of soaked everything in, happiness to me is a state of being. I do agree with Morrison and Tala that it's fleeting, so enjoy it while it lasts. And it's something that feels good, something that's genuinely enjoyable. Based on that definition, though, I would say that it is a state of being that is enjoyable. And that's what it means to me now. Thanks for your question. Megan, the fear of failure is an ongoing trend, but there is no success to be found using substances. 100% for me and many people. Yeah, Megan, I thought I thought it was fear of failure for me for a long time. What I recently have uncovered with my therapist is that it's actually not just fear of failure, but also fear of success and what that means. I agree, there's no success to be found using substances. I mean, I guess for some people that use them responsibly or normally, that they could argue, like they could make that argument that it works for them, but I'm not one of those people that can use them responsibly. Or at least I wasn't able to when I was out there. I do use my mental health medication responsibly now, and I'm so happy that I'm able to do that and that my nurse practitioner trusts me to do it and that I'm having success in that area. Tala, Megan, is because of failure we can learn to become successful. That's an interesting comment, Tala. Yeah, we can't actually be successful if we don't fail every once in a while. Like nobody bowls 300 games every time, you know. Artem, you're volunteering right now, serving the community over here. All right, thanks, Artem. You're right. You're right. I am. Although now is a good time to say I did start doing one-on-ones for peer support for people. So if you're ever interested, or if you know someone who could benefit from peer support in terms of mental health recovery or substance use recovery, there is a link to Clarity in the description of this video and in the description of the channel. And I would be happy to offer one-on-one support for people who want a more one-on-one, for lack of a better term, experience. Tala, Megan, and speak. Oh, I read this already. So Artem, you're. Oh, I read that already too. Facts, Tala. Tala, even if it takes 10 failed chances just to have one successful outcome, it's worth it 100%. I love that comment, Tala. Sometimes that's what it takes too. You know, we don't often hear about people's failures. Like Like if Vicky wasn't doing too hot, you wouldn't be seeing Vicky today, but you're seeing her because she's popping. She's doing really well right now because I take really good care of her. But there have been plenty of times where she didn't rise like I expected her to, or I was trying to make bread and I couldn't shape it appropriately. Like shaping the bowl is a whole thing. But you're right. Sometimes we have to fail to get to the success, and that's normal. John, I try to be a very optimistic person. I haven't always been that, but I believe um, it's my faith in our Savior Jesus Christ that has allowed me to focus on the positive things in life instead of the negative. I love that comment too, John. I think it's such an important thing to it's a skill, as a matter of fact, to be able to focus on what we're enjoying on and what's going well. And it's so easy to fall into that negative stinking thinking, for lack of a better term. It's so easy. I think we're kind of programmed. Let me know your thoughts on that if you're interested in sharing on our programming and how focus on the wrong things is detrimental. So, I got clean and sober in AA, and I hope this is not triggering to anybody. It's certainly not my intention to make anybody uncomfortable. My point in sharing that I got into recovery in Alcoholics Anonymous is that so often I think there's very many good things about AA. I want to be clear about that. I think that there are certain meetings, certain groups that I've attended that tend to be heavy on war stories and not very heavy on the solution. And I found it difficult over time to improve my mental health when talking so much about addiction and the problem, which is why I'm going to plug the Thursday recovery meeting that we just started. The focus there has been very positive topics. The energy has been very uplifting, and it has felt like a very useful um, hour that we've been putting aside to talk about everything that we've been talking about the past few weeks. So, if you're interested in checking out the recovery meeting, I would love it if maybe Tala, if you're still available, I would love it. Oh, and Tala's saying he might do a live stream after this. Oh, that would be great, Tala. I'll definitely be there to support you. Thank you for letting us know. And Realist EDM in the house. Hey, Realist. Nice to see you again. We're talking about joy here, and I want to know what brings you joy. We just talked quite a bit about social connection, and then something interesting came up: the fear of success. And um, I think that social connection is something that can help us get through that, and focusing on what we want to create rather than focusing on what could possibly go wrong. And I am definitely guilty of fearing success. I've moved past fear of failure a while ago because everybody makes mistakes. Not everything is going to land. You gotta try things out sometimes to see what doesn't work to find what does work. But fear of success, that's what I'm actually working on with my therapist right now, and I need to continue working on that. And so to bring that all together and tie it up with a bow, because of the social connections that I have, I'm able to work on things like this, which brings great value to my life. And I know that it can help to hear other people's experience also. So, 5 years ago, it might have embarrassed me to talk about fear of success, but these days I feel very comfortable talking about it. Megan, yes, fall downs 9 times, get up 10. Yes, Megan, exactly. And you know what? Like back to the social connection thing, if we fall down 9 times, like if we've got good social support, they will help us get back up those 10 times or that 10th time. It's easy to isolate out of shame, but that doesn't solve it either. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, from everybody, Megan, you have so much support here. I hope you have just as much support, at home. Um, Really, I hope I just you deserve to have all the supports in place, like more than I even know, like that's something I shared in my 2024 video, like my goals video, the live stream I did was that in 2024 I'm looking to increase the number of healthy connections that I have. And truth be told, that means letting go of some of the not so healthy ones and being okay with that, which is not the easiest. But if my focus is to have healthy, fulfilling relationships, then I have to make room for those and accept that not every relationship is going to fit that ticket. Megan, oh, I read this already. Appreciate the kind words. Ooh, Megan retracted a message. Probably a typo. So Tala, do you do you want to share a link to your live stream, or maybe closer to the end? You feel free to share a link to your live stream. Tala's channel is I don't want to call it religious. It's Bible based and faith based, and I find it to be very valuable content if you're into that type of thing. But just as a disclaimer, that is the content that you will find over there. Tala, feel free to drop a link. Megan, I see you dropped a link to the clarity. Thank you so much. Maddie Torrance in the house. Maddie, don't worry. I was wondering where the heck you were at, Maddie. It's so nice to see you here. Who is Joy? Is she single? Actually, I have a neighbor named Joy. So, Maddie, we are talking about joy here. We've shared some things in the comments that bring us joy. I have shared a couple of things so far that bring me joy. And since you are just getting here, Maddie, I will show you. This is Vicky. She's my sourdough starter. And look how strong and beautiful she is this evening. 'Cause I've been taking very good care of her. Sourdough was the first thing on my list that brings me joy, followed up by social connection, not necessarily in that order. This is just the order that I thought of them. And the final thing that I wrote down, let me actually get to some of these comments. David Malton in the house. I didn't even see you come in, David. Joy and happiness are two very different beasts for sure, said David. David, nice to see you. I'm so glad you're here. David also said the most successful people have had to fail to get where they are. 100%, David. Uh, David, I would be interested to hear what your take is on joy and happiness since you're joining us here. I would imagine that you 5:30. Yeah, you probably heard me kind of stumble around and have to look up the definitions of joy and happiness. But what's your thought on that, David? What's the difference between joy and happiness? Oh, and for everybody watching, Tala said, I just realized Tala said he might do a live stream after. So I can't guarantee that he's going to go on after me, but he might. Real CDM, it's chemical. It all is, I guess, but it's more immediate, I think. It's like a dopamine rush. Happiness, realist? Is that what you mean? Artem, I'm not sure what the difference is between happiness and joy, but I like the concept of fulfillment as being something distinct. Yeah, I think fulfillment is like next level enjoyment. And a really important part of it's like in peer support specialist training, we talk about meaning and purpose being a critical part of recovery. And I think fulfillment is another way to say that, yeah, the meaning and purpose. Megan, joy means joy. Thanks, dictionary. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tala, you've got a lot of support here if you do decide to go live. I mean, you don't need my support. You have a huge community. I'm just getting started. But we're happy to support you, Tala. David, just be high on life. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Aw, Tala, y'all be sure to smash that like button for our girl Tara. Thanks, Tala. That's really nice of you. I appreciate that. I always forget to say it, but looks like we've got some likes, and I appreciate every single one of them. Megan, fear of success. Wow, yup, good point. There's an element of self sabotage that can happen, in my opinion, and in my experience. Absolutely. And I think that is a big part. I don't think I know because I talked about it with my therapist and did a lot of self reflecting when I was going through that rough patch a few weeks ago. I'm so used to not performing at the level that I could and not being of service the way that I could. And I'm starting to find how much potential I actually have. I'm starting to realize that. And it's kind of scary. It's exciting, but it's like, gosh, how am I going to manage all this? Like, it can be scary to think about success. It's real. But to the point of today's live stream, like in addition to what I said, it's like, sure, there can be a fear of success, but on the flip side, there can be success. And that feels good. And I enjoy saying that. Well, I might actually, I might actually pull off all the things that I'm trying to pull off right now. And how good is that going to feel? Way better than sabotaging it and never knowing what I could have accomplished. So I like this whole shifting the focus to the solution and the joy. It feels way better and way more manageable. Yeah, the most success. I think I read this already, but I'm going to read it again because I really like this comment, David. It says the most successful people have had to fail to get where they are. Yep. Yeah. With math, I tutored math for a few years when I was in university, and you got to do a lot of math problems and get a lot of problems wrong in order to become proficient at a skill. Like riding a bike. How many times do we fall? Nobody can ride a bike straight. I mean, maybe somebody in the world didn't fall, but we got to fall. We got to fail in order to figure it out. John Fry, I've had a successful business for 20 years and I still have days when I'm afraid of failure. That's good to know, John. And I can relate to this too. I'm not only afraid of success, that's just something that I've been able to identify in the past month or so. The fear of failure is more easy to identify. That's what keeps us stuck. That's what keeps us from moving. The fear of success, though, that's like what Megan was saying, what with the self sabotage comes in. I didn't even know that that was a thing for me until recently. Maddie, I fell down 9 times and then figured out that I should probably tie my shoes. Maddie, coming in with the lighthearted jokes. I'm so glad that you made it here tonight, Maddie. It's always nice to have your company. And Maddie, if you want to share with us, what are 3 things that you enjoy in life? I still have one thing to share. So if y'all haven't shared yet, or if something else came to your mind, maybe what I'm about to share will trigger some inspiration or make you think of something else that you enjoy and want to share. Oh, Maddie did share. It's the little things in life that bring me joy: fame, money, power. Just kidding. Maddie, tell us, what do you enjoy in life right now? Tala, I know what you mean, Tara. Lately, I've been having some anxiety and just scared because how my channel is growing like never before. And I'm just a little in fear of how I'm going to manage all of it. That's a really good point, Tala. Yeah, that's not something that I've had to face at this point. My channel is so small, especially compared to yours. You are experiencing fast growth, and I am so proud of you. I hope that it continues. I hope that it's not too much to manage. And I really hope that you have some sort of supports, like I'm curious about that, Tala. Do you have like a mentor or someone who has been like carrying you under their YouTube wing, or like like a business type of person, or anyone, or have you just been figuring all of this out on your own? Tell yes, it's exciting, but at the same time, when reality hits and you realize you're where you wanted to be, it can be scary. Right. Right. And I don't personally, I don't even really know where that place is. I've got like my little short term idea of what I want to do and build in the next couple of years, but I haven't even, it's like, it's terrifying for me to stop and think 5 and 10 years down the road, because I'm still trying to make it day by day. Yeah, I'm still in the one day at a time mindset. And that's all that's gotten me to where I'm at today. I'll be celebrating 3 years, God willing, on April 2nd in recovery, no slips. And one day at a time is how I've done it. So to think about 5 or 10 years down the road is terrifying to me, and I haven't gotten there yet. Yeah, John Fry, you got this, Tala. I echo that. I know you. Well, I don't know you got this, Tala, but I just have a feeling that you're going to be able to manage everything. Yeah, thanks for the motivation, Brother John. Artem, Tara, do you have a clear idea of what you're working towards? What do you imagine success will look like? Artem, short term, I have a general idea of what I'm building. I would like to operate independently as a peer support specialist eventually. I'm not ready to do that yet, although I am offering one on ones. I would like to work with the population who has Medicaid. They're the ones who, I mean, everybody could benefit from peer support. People who have Medicaid could really benefit from someone who has been through what they're going through and has made it to the other side, meaning they're housed, they're employed. So, my short term goal is to get 1 or 2 years of experience as a peer support specialist, which I'm happy to report I do have a job lined up starting in March, April, maybe some odd jobs sooner. while we wait for the daytime navigation center to open, and then to branch out and to do my own independent peer support thing. That being said, I would really like to have a good balance while I work on these goals. So I would like to start surfing again. Which is probably not going to happen for a few more weeks. We have some rain coming. So at least a few weeks, if not more, before I actually get my tail into the ocean. Rock climbing is something that I really enjoy doing. Those two things I would like to balance with my business aspirations and getting experience and service. I would like to continue doing my volunteer work. So to me, like short term, which again is about as small as, or that's about the best I can do right now, because once I start thinking 5 and 10 years down the road, my brain is like, oh, am I gonna be able to stay in recovery that long? And it's too much. But eventually, my goal in the next couple of years is to start my own agency for peer support. And so that being said, people have been making comments to me like, well, you want to set yourself up to be able to have people work for you, like employees. And that's not something I had really thought to be a realistic option for me, because I kind of just wanted to be a one woman show. But perhaps if I end up liking it, there's a chance that I won't like being independent and that I would never want to branch out and build my business into something larger. But I mean, I really enjoy connecting with y'all. And the peer support thing is something that comes relatively like natural to me. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I like doing it. I really enjoy it. It brings me joy to be able to show up for y'all, to hear from you, to connect with you. And I look forward to getting paid, working for this agency that I have a relationship with, to get some experience so that I can branch out and do my own thing in terms of billing insurance. Does that answer your question? I don't know that my goals are big enough, but I think they're realistic. Tala, you worked hard for that page and growth. You have a great message and you're going to do amazing. And this proud new mod's got your back. Yeah, Megan. Megan, you're such a supportive person. I really hope that you are finding and have the type of support that you give. Maddie, the thing I most enjoy in life is sleeping. The second thing I most enjoy in life is lying down. Sleep does bring me joy too. Yep. And it's so important. Missing one night of sleep can really throw a wrench in things. Tala, actually, it's all handled by me, myself, and I. Right on, Tala. Good work, man. Keep it up. Keep up the hard work. But now I've got Slomo who will be helping me with the Bible studies and just helping manage certain things. Okay, cool. It's always nice to have some support. Yeah, thank you for the positive, uplifting comment, Megan. You have so much to offer the world, Megan, and you're a super in demand moderator. And if I haven't said it already, I appreciate all the mods who are in here right now. Thank you so much for your support. You really make this a lot easier. Just knowing that you're here is helpful. Maddie, one of the things I enjoy is falling asleep to the sound of Tara's voice. That's so nice. Maddie, are you falling asleep right now? Is it Are you on Eastern time? John Fry's laughing at Maddie. Loverton in the house. Good evening, Tara and friends. Hey, Lori, nice to see you. How are you doing, Lori? We are talking about joy. We have seen a lot of different things that people enjoy or that bring them joy. Matt likes to sleep quite a bit, and I appreciate him sharing that with us. Something that I shared in the beginning that I'll just do a recap. Oh, it's looking good. I love my sourdough. She's very strong tonight. She's been rising like 1.5 times her size, but she's like almost triple right now. She's sourdough. Sourdough is something that I enjoy. I also enjoy social connection, and I've really been enjoying the volunteer work that I've been doing. And I'm about to share a third thing that I really enjoy. So I want to know, what are some things, 3 things that you enjoy? Maddie, Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys wrote a song about Tara. It's called Little Surfer Girl. I'll have to check that one out. I can't remember how that one goes. I don't know if I've ever actually heard it. I know a little bit of Beach Boys. Megan, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I think it's epic, Tara. Love the real point, or love the real point on balance. I think it's something that's easy to lose sight of when we're so excited about some things. Yeah, definitely. The balance is something that I've never really done a good job with. I've always been really focused on productivity and achieving, or I've been really focused on having fun and exploring, which was productive for a period of my life, but I really strive to meld those 2 things together to where I'm being of service, helping other people, but also having fun for the purpose of having fun. I don't think that I will be able to maintain an actual long term recovery if I don't figure out how to strike a balance between those things. Artem, that's an awesome vision for the future. Tara, sounds great. I could see that working out very well. Thanks, Artem. I have a good feeling about it. It just feels um, right, at least at this point in time. And, if something changes and I have to pivot or want to pivot, that's okay too. At this point in time, though, everything I said is true. Lori loves a good nap. Yeah, so Lori and Maddie are on the same page with the sleep. Lori enjoys nature, camping, and skiing, anything outside. Right on. I also enjoy nature, although I haven't been spending as much time in it as I was at one point. Anything outside, nature, camping, I can relate to that. I don't know if you're on Instagram, Lori, but I spent a good amount of time on Instagram before I got on YouTube. I took a 3-year hiatus between Instagram and YouTube, but I've got a lot of really pretty pictures of the places that I traveled to. It's all nature, it's all beautiful outdoor photographs that I've taken. So if that's something that interests you, my Instagram link is in the description if you're interested. Megan, I'm off to eat. Tara, thank you for a wonderful live. See you all next time. Megan, thanks for coming in and being a fantastic moderator. I really appreciate you. I'm so glad to hear about your progress, to hear that it sounds like you're doing well today. And please feel free to let me know if there's any way that I can support you. Enjoy your dinner. John Fry, I gotta go work early tomorrow. God bless you all. Great job, Tara. Thanks, John. I appreciate that very much. Heather, I want to be of service to my community when my cup is full. I feel like I am running. Oh, did I even say see you later, John? I don't think so. I think I read the comment really quick and then I thought to myself, I haven't even got to my last point and I got to make sure I do that before I end this live. John, it was great to have your company. I'm so nice to see you. Or it's so nice to see you. My brain's starting to short out, folks. So, Heather, I want to be of service to my community when my cup is full. I feel like I'm running on empty and want to be more stable and recharged so I can be present for others. Heather, yes, I understand 100% what you're saying. Well, in my own way, I understand what you're saying here. And to show up for yourself so that you can show up for others, I think is just about one of the best goals that somebody can have. And it feels so good to show up for other people. Lori, I did find your Insta page and you're an awesome photographer. Right on, Lori. I'm glad you found it. I would like to get back to photography. It's been a while since I've taken any photographs like that, that are in my niche that's on Instagram because I've been hunkering down and I was in shelters for a couple of years and I've been here for a year just kind of recovering from everything. So I do aspire to get back on the horse and start posting to Instagram again. Thank you for that compliment. It means a lot. Tala, great live stream, Tara. Thanks, Tala. I appreciate that very, very much. Looks like, we've been going for almost 2 hours, and I have not even told y'all about my very last thing that brings me joy that I made a note of. So I will tell you this so as not to leave you hanging, and we'll start to land the plane here. It looks like everybody is winding down themselves. People are getting ready to go to bed. And so I'm going to ride. I like riding waves, and it seems like that's where the wave is tonight. So before I share this, I just want to appreciate each and every one of you again for being here. I could not do this without you. And it means a lot that you showed up. So thank you. So, okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of the list of 3 things that I enjoy is self-care. And I want to be clear about this. As I was writing it, I kind of cringed a little bit because I was like, you know what? I don't actually love the process of self-care. And then I thought to myself, why don't I like the process of self-care? I need to be a little more mindful, I think, in taking care of myself because what I do enjoy is having nails that look nice and toenails that look nice. And I got a few compliments on my hair today because I haven't been wearing it down to, volunteering functions. I've worn it up so much and only started styling it recently after starting ketamine treatment. So self-care after I've performed it is something that I really enjoy. Just the feeling of having taken care of myself. That being said, I realized an area where I have some serious room for growth, and that is to find joy in the journey. Like I'm always talking about how the joy is in the journey. I love making sourdough, and so I love eating sourdough, but I also love making it. The joy is in the journey. I love getting home after a fun time, or not even getting home, but like I love interacting with people socially, like the social connection we talked about. And that one's pretty clear. Like it's about the journey, right? You're not trying to get to point B without enjoying the journey. So that one's more straightforward in terms of the journey. I think for me personally, even though I like the feeling of having taken care of myself, I want to be, like I said, more mindful of enjoying the journey to get to the self care being done, because I think it will add quality to my life. Heather, I'm very thankful for this live and all the support, getting to a month. Heather, we are so proud of you for getting to your month. Kudos to you. Seriously, I wish I need some sort of like, um, I don't know, some sort of like, I'll clap for you. I can clap for you. I just don't, I don't have, see if there's like a trophy I can give to you. Oh, wait, I'm in the chat. Oh, look what I found. Bear with me while I give Heather her trophy. Heather gets a trophy. And you know who else gets a trophy? I don't know if he's still here, but I'm going to give Mo a trophy too, because Mo made it to 6 weeks off subs. Boom. Trophies for Heather and Slow Mo, both having reached significant milestones. Not easy tasks for either one of them, but I'm so proud of both of you. Very, very good work. So maybe I'll come up with um, a better prize, but that's what I have to offer right now is the trophy. Artem, your hair looks great. Thanks, Artem. I appreciate that very much. My friend just cut it for me on Thursday. So it's just a trim. She just cleaned up the edges for me. That was really nice of her. Heather, rad, much love. You got it, Heather. It's the least I can do. I don't love that phrase because it's like, I don't want to just do the least I can do, but I'm glad that you like it. I'm glad that you like it. It's a pleasure. You deserve it. Recognizing and celebrating is awesome. Agreed, Lori. I agree. I agree. Okay, so you know what I really enjoyed about this live stream? I want to give you, before I go off on this little ridiculous tangent that I'm about to go on, I want to give y'all an option to speak any last piece, any things that you enjoy that you have not yet typed, or maybe something that it would like when I was talking about how I realized when I was doing this exercise that I haven't been good about enjoying the journey. I want to give you a moment here to either express some things that you like or express an area or areas where there's some room for growth over this next week, where you could focus on enjoying the journey more, or a task that you could enjoy the journey more. And as we land the plane here, I'm going to tell you about my favorite part about this live stream, although there have been many. Of course, I love that Heather made it to 30 days. I love that Slow-Mo made it to 6 weeks. These are all really great things. And so those are probably my favorite that we're celebrating here. It's kind of a ridiculous little thing that I made a note of that I'm really excited about. I'll share with you. Artem, my third is fire. Brings me joy for sure. I love campfires and bonfires. I burn candles all the time at home. It's not as cool as the snow though. I like how you laugh with har har har. Artem. I also love campfires and bonfires quite a bit. I have candles, but I haven't been burning them. I don't know why. Maybe I'll burn a few candles tonight. Could be nice. Probably because, excuse me, probably because they're not scented. I just burn like straight beeswax candles, no scent, but it's nice. It'll bring a nice ambience to the room, definitely. Maddie, I think Tara should get a trophy for having nice toenails. Well, thank you, Maddie. I appreciate that. I do take great pleasure in having nice toenails. I do take care of my toenails. I put lotion on my feet every time I get out of the shower. I put Vaseline on them to keep them in good shape. My nails look great. I keep them trimmed, especially now with the ketamine treatment. It's like I want to keep my nails and my toenails looking good even more now. So thanks for that, Maddie. I'll take a trophy for good feet, good toenails. So okay, before I drop the ball and not like before I fail to tell you one of my favorite, it's not my favorite because I think the celebrations are my favorite part and just the fellowship, being here with you all, seeing all your comments, that brings me a lot of joy, and that's been my favorite part. One of my favorite notes that I made is that I really want to try to make sourdough chicken strips. And that sourdough chicken fried steak idea is a great idea. And I also made a note of sourdough gravy. That's not something that I've done yet, but I really would like to try making a sourdough gravy. I think it could turn out miserably or wonderfully. And if it turns out wonderfully, it's going to be uh, another personal favorite, like a banger recipe. I can already feel it, like a chicken fried steak with sourdough gravy. Oh, that just sounds so bomb. Or sourdough chicken fingers with gravy. I'm gonna have to try that. I'm gonna have to try that. So it looks like y'all spoke your piece this evening. I'm so happy that you did. Again, I can't express enough gratitude that y'all came and hung out with me for 2 hours. We've been going for 2 hours and 2 minutes here. Heather says, Trippy, I've been obsessed with my nails and pedicures since treatment. That's something that another thing that we have in common is that I've started caring a lot more about personal care and having like not only the energy, but the motivation to want to take care of myself in that way. So I'm happy for you, Heather. It feels good, hey? Feels good. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Maddie says, I think Tara's favorite part of this live stream were my hilarious jokes. Maddie, you do have great jokes. I'm actually give you a heart for that one. You bring such a lighthearted energy into this space, Maddie, and I really appreciate you. You are welcome here anytime, as are all of you. There's a few of you who have been in here for a couple hours with me, and I really appreciate you. So, I gotta end it. I gotta end it sometime. I can't just stream all night, although sometimes I dream about it. But for now, it has been a pleasure speaking with you as always. I love you all so very much, so very, very much. And I hope to talk with you soon.